Live from Town Square Towers at the heart of the Jersey Shore. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Get up, get out, do something. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. 607, 44 degrees, heading up to 77. March 9th, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. News Talk Radio on the streaming on the Radio Pup app and at WOBMAM.com. 732-505-1160 if you want to join the conversation. Just a quick observation, the whole Facebook thing has me thrown off now. You know this, Zach, because now you not only can just like things, but if somebody puts a little heart or something, they've now reacted to your post.
Yes.
I don't.
You can add a little emotion.
It's a little
to
upsetting,
it
to
now.
be honest with you, because I really like to accumulate likes. Right?
Okay.
And then when somebody reacts, I'm no longer accumulating. I don't even know why I want to accumulate likes. I feel like there's some kind of payoff at the end. There's nothing. Anyway, we have our first guest of the morning in studio with us. He is Dr. Frank Segreto. He is a chiropractor here in town. But when I think of a chiropractor, and can I call you Frank? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Frank, when I think Dr. Frank.
That's fine.
When I think of a chiropractor, good morning, by the way.
Good morning.
Good morning. When I think of a chiropractor, I think of, I think old school. I think of someone, kind of cracking my back in a variety of different ways, right? Doing all kinds of strange gyrations and then walking out saying, oh, that I feel much better now. And then probably 2 days later, I'm like, oh, I got to go back to the chiropractor, right? So your practice is a little different. Why don't you tell us a little about what you do?
Yes, Jeremy, thank you. And what I like to say is probably the way that you're thinking of chiropractic, that's like driving the 65 Mercedes, and I like to think we're in the 2016 Mercedes. And really the way that I practice is looking at a more complete picture of the person that's sitting in front of me. And one of the main tools that I use is a technique that I use called neuro-emotional technique, NET for short. And the reason that I've used this for so many years now is that it addresses the root cause of so many problems much greater than we ever could have before, because we're looking actually into stress-related conditions. So we've come to accept, for example, that stress can cause a heart attack, right? I mean, nobody really doubts that anymore.
Right.
We come to accept the fact that stress can cause a migraine. All right. Yeah. You see a little kid, for example, might get so excited that they actually throw up. Right. All of these are the mind affecting the body. Well, if you can understand that, if you can see that connection, then the next logical step, which we've actually been able to prove, is that stress or emotions can cause any problem. So many people might have experienced it themselves. Gee, they're stressed at work, they get a headache, or they're stressed at home, and all of a sudden their back starts to hurt. And we kind of know this innately, that this is what happens in our body, but we really have never had a really good way to address it and actually make a correction so that those stress factors can stop causing all of these discomforts, all of this turmoil in our life. And with neuro-emotional technique, it's a very simple, elegant technique that we use to find out what that emotional connection is and then do an actual correction and make a treatment so that the body can release that stress and it doesn't have to keep causing them such distress in their life.
So what does that look like? I mean, when you say, so now I'm picturing that instead of me being on a table and you cracking my back in different ways, I'm on the couch and I'm picturing I'm having a Sopranos flashback now, right? So what is this? What does this really look like? What does this process look like?
Boelieve it or not, it's really no different than a regular visit. We use a tool that we call muscle testing or kinesiology, where we can actually tap into just basically the body's memory. It is not a talk it out therapy. That's one of the great things that's about it. It's a way that we simply do some very quick tests and analysis procedures where we can find out what that is. And believe it or not, you mentioned that. We all know about Sigmund Freud and father of psychoanalysis. Freud was a neurologist. He was a physician, and what he found in his practice was that he was finding things that made no sense neurologically, but people were still having these problems. He would examine someone's arm and say, this has no reason for this to be happening. And that's when he started to say maybe there's an emotional or psychological connection. And now, finally, all these years later, we have an actual very streamlined, effective way to use those emotions to actually help the person get better, as opposed to just keep carrying it around and letting them get sicker and sicker and sicker.
Wait a second now. Hold on. So are you telling me, because now I'm gonna let me go down the inverse method here.
Sure.
So are you telling me that if I'm having marital problems, right, that I should call my chiropractor, and you're going to be able to do something for me that's going to make me feel better, or are you only going to be able to alleviate the back pain that is? I'm just, you understand where I'm going here.
I certainly do. When our patients first see us, we always address the pain, the main problems that are coming on. And one of the side effects of NET are actually good side effects, because yes, when we do this work, patients will come back to me, not only me, but NET doctors all around the world, and tell us, gee, I'm much more relaxed at home. I'm feeling better when I'm dealing with my kids. My job doesn't upset me anymore, because our emotions extend into every single aspect of our life. So the pain, the symptoms, that's the problem just finally coming to a head. So if you go ahead and get rid of the root cause of the problem and you're not in pain anymore, well, maybe you're a lot happier in life. Maybe you're not as miserable. Maybe you're not as down in the dumps every single day when you get up, because you're realizing, oh, here we go again with the pain.
Right.
So it has a lot of spillover into many areas of life, but it spills over in a very good way.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting you say that, because over the last couple of days, a lot of people have noted that I've been walking with a bit of a limp because I hurt my foot. It was a very raucous night of sleeping for me, probably late last week, and so I hurt my foot, and I've been limping, and I've been very mean to Zach, and Zach has actually been telling me, he's like, Jeremy, I feel like you're hurtful to me over the last few days, and so this morning I felt a lot better. I apologize. We hugged it out. Yes. And Zach, I just want to tell you again how much I appreciate you.
Thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you, Jeremy.
All right, so Dr. Frank, how did you get involved? How do you decide? First of all, how did you decide you wanted to be a chiropractor?
My grandmother, before I was ever born, had a fall. They used to live up the city, up in Hoboken.
Okay.
And she slipped on the ice one day, fell down, hit her head, and couldn't stand for like 2 weeks. She was on the couch from dizziness. And at that time, they had seen specialist after specialist. And my mom actually said, well, why don't we try a chiropractor? What do we have to lose?
Right.
And they looked in the phone book. They actually found a female chiropractor in town who made a house call back, again, this is in the late 50s. And she came to the house and did one of those old-fashioned adjustments, and my grandmother was back on her feet in 2 hours. Okay. And my parents said, whoa, what just happened here? So back then, she explained to my parents what she did and how basically chiropractic not only helps to correct problems, but actually can prevent them. So I've been under chiropractic care since I'm a baby, not just for symptom and pain relief, but to, again, the foundation of chiropractic to enhance life, to basically improve the body's functioning as best as possible. So
you're saying that in essence you've been working towards being a chiropractor since birth.
How do you like that?
So I don't mean to to create a scar, create a wound of any kind, but are you ever wishful that instead maybe your parents put a basketball in your hand or something like that? I mean, I'm just saying, I'm sure you do very well, but on the grand pay scale, I think if you had been a Jedi level basketball player right now, you probably wouldn't be on Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin.
Well, they did put a hockey stick in my hand pretty early, but I always seem to gravitate back to the healthcare.
Okay, cool. So all right, so that's pretty amazing. So you're saying that you knew, like in high school, you wanted to be a chiropractor.
I always thought about it. I mean, it went back and forth, and then by the time I got to Villanova and really had to, graduation is coming up in a year, so I probably should decide. And that's when I decided, it's been a part of my life for so long, and I decided that this is what I wanted to do.
That's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So that's and probably unusual, because I think I know you said that you have 2 kids, two grown children now. And I know that when I talk to my kids, and my kids are 6th, 7th, and 9th grade, and I ask them what they want to, we talk about what they want to do when they get older, their career goals change about every 12 minutes.
Absolutely.
Right. And it's never the same things. I mean, right. it's just never the same things. Of course, then there's always the answer, Dad, I just want to do what you do. I like what you, because they think I pretty much just, chat on the radio for a couple hours a day. Then they think I go take a nap, and then they're like, and then you go out to dinner with a lot of people and lunch with a lot of people. I mean, it's a pretty good life, Dad. Sure. We want to do that. Mm-hmm. But when we get back, I do want to talk about how you discovered this neuroemotional technique, because that's definitely a little different. Yes. And kind of take a deeper dive into there. We're back with Dr. Frank Segreto, chiropractor here in town. Be right back.
Rush Limbaugh today at noon. More Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin coming up next. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310.
Welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin here on WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Streaming live on the Radio Pup app and at WOBMAM.com. Feel free to join the conversation at 732-505-1160. Talking to Dr. Frank Segreto. He's a chiropractor at Trinity Health Center in Toms River, New Jersey. And listen, I just want you to understand, we don't just say, hey, look, let's find a chiropractor and bring them on. That's not what we're doing here, right? Because we really want to talk about the cool way that we're dealing with the art of chiropractic. See what I did there? I turned it into an art form, right? Mm-hmm. So so I want to know more this neuro-emotional technique. Where did you hear about this? Where did you learn about it? Mm-hmm. What kind of turned you on to it? And when did you have that epiphany? When did it all kind of change?
Well, Dr. Scott Walker, who developed this work, I had heard that he was doing this work, and basically the question they asked was, do you have patients who continue to improve, but then they have a relapse, or they seem to plateau and they can never get any better? And I said, as a lot of people who have taken this work, yes, we do. We have had those patients. So when I went to learn the work, I realized that, wow, this emotional component, this stress component of their health was something that we weren't addressing. And finally, I found out that, wow, we finally had a way to address that last factor. And by doing that, we just saw all of our patients just go to the next level and see improvement in their health that we couldn't get just addressing the structural point of view that chiropractors had always done. So I actually worked on the very first patient I worked on was my son when he was in the 5th grade, and he would just get so upset and get sick when he was doing his homework, all sorts of crazy things going on. And I said, all right, that's enough. I'm going to try this work on him and see what happens. And we noticed within a matter of weeks that he was calmer. He wasn't getting upset when he was doing his homework. And he actually came to me, and you asked for that, that pivotal moment in your life. Well, he came to me and he said, Daddy, he goes, my homework is fun again. Right. And I said, whoa, what the heck did I stumble upon here? And that's when I just went into my patients that had been under my care for a while. And I said, I've got this new method. Do you mind if we try it out? And one by one, they started coming back and saying, Doc, I don't know what you did last time, but I feel better than I have in a long, long time. And I said, I think we're going to stick with this, and we have. That's great, because that had to be one of the questions we like to ask is, what's your aha moment? Mm-hmm. I think you have an interesting spin on that, because I think when you use your kids to experiment on, I think that could go really one of two ways. It could be really fantastic and groundbreaking, as it was for you, right. Or you could be confronted with an interesting discussion with DIFUS, which you were able to avoid. So congratulations on that. Well, the great part about it is that if you do the work and it doesn't work, it just doesn't work. It's the classic Hippocrates, do no harm, and right. It really can't do any harm. So, right. Yeah. You hoped, and you had 2 kids, right? Right. So you knew you had one. I had a spare. Exactly. You had a do-over. Right. I respect that. I mean, listen, I always tell my wife, we have 3 kids. To me, it's like a 2 was really where I wanted, I was hoping to be. So if one of them, if something happens, at least we have an extra. And the great part is now that they're adults, they both live in California, and they both see NET practitioners out there. So, oh, really? So they know the value in their life, and they continue to go to colleagues of mine that are out there. What do they do out there in California? My oldest son is actually in media. He works as an editor. And, okay. And my younger son is actually, he went to Rutgers and didn't like the business field, and he is actually a massage therapist with the intention of getting back into healthcare. Oh, cool. And they're they just wanted to be in California because the weather is a lot nicer, right? Well, all the work is out there for my older one for his media, and then my younger one said, I'm going to go out and live with my brother for a while. Oh, that's awesome. So now they're together, and they're happy, and they're doing well. And that, when your kids are happy, you're happy. That's cool. And you have an excuse to go to California a couple times a year, right? We keep working on that, yes. Yeah, that's good. Good. I respect that. Okay. So I want to talk to you. I think we only have a couple of minutes here before we have 1 minute before our next break. So I really don't want to. We're going to dive in after the break on the work that you're doing with the One Research Foundation, mm-hmm. Which I'm excited to hear about, because you said you've been talking to me about it, pretty groundbreaking. But tell me for a second. I know that you were you are a graduate aside from Villanova University. You also are a graduate of St. Joe's, now Donovan Catholic. You coached hockey. I did. And I saw that you won actually an honor as an Ocean County Coach of the Year. I was actually Shore Conference Coach of the Year in 2007. Yep. I played hockey at Villanova for 4 years, and when they were looking to bring in the hockey program to Donovan, I stepped up and I got the job. So I coached the first team in 2000, and I coached for 9 years.
That's awesome. And I'm sure that team never had any back pain, and they were emotionally in incredible shape. So that's really
Absolutely.
that. You were a real godsend for that squad. All right, cool. We are talking to Dr. Frank Segreto, chiropractor here in Ocean County, in Toms River. We'll be back after the break, and we're talking to him a little bit about what he's doing with the One Research Foundation. We're going to ask him what he's doing with his magic wand to make an impact. Be back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin after this.
Coming up next, the latest from WOBM News, the Town Square, New Jersey News Network, and Fox News Radio. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Live from the Jersey Shore to the world. Get up, get out, do something. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. Take the show wherever you go. Download the free Radio Pup app for your smartphone or tablet. Join the conversation, 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
6:34 a.m. 44 degrees, heading to 77 today, March 9th, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Streaming live on the Radio Pup app and at WOBMAM.com. 732-505-1160. We are here with Dr. Frank Segreto, chiropractor, Trinity Health Center. So, Dr. Frank, talk to me about the One Research Foundation. What are you guys working on?
Yes, the One Foundation, onefoundation.org. It's a nonprofit organization that does research to advance mind-body healthcare, and we have the One Foundation has already published over the last 20 years 25 different papers, basically validating NET and the work that we do. But right now, we are in the process of wrapping up a study at Jefferson University Hospital in Philadelphia, where we have actually taken pre- and post-functional MRIs of the brain of people who experience different kind of traumatic event in their life, do a functional MRI, see what the brain looks like, and then do NET treatments on the person, and then do a follow-up functional MRI. And the preliminary feedback that we're getting is that the results are basically off the charts.
Right.
We're showing literally that NET does change the brain. It actually helps it heal and actually creates even increased nerve connections in the brain that weren't there before. So some people might think, well, you're talking about helping the stress and the emotions. This is just a temporary thing. We're actually showing that we're making permanent changes in the body for the better, and that's something that's never been done before, and really in alternative healthcare at all. And I'm not sure if it's been done in any procedure whatsoever. So we're looking at hopefully getting this published by the end of the year. Excuse me, adding to our continuing collection of research that we're doing to really validate what we're doing and show that we're really making a change in the body.
So a perfect afternoon. Go to my chiropractor. Right. Do some yoga. Meditate for a little while.
Cool.
Have a salad. Right? Right. I mean, I gotta have a salad. I can't eat like a steak after that. Right?
No,
it's like
no.
I mean, but you're vegetarian, Zach. So I mean, that's
easy for me.
It's a bad example.
Well, we look at the paleo lifestyle balance, a little bit of everything. Yep.
You're not a vegetarian, are you, Dr.
I am
Frank?
not.
Okay, good. I didn't want to judge you or anything. I mean, it's okay if you are.
Oh,
And
ganging up on me. Come on.
Listen, no, this is not ganging up. So you're telling me also though that what you do also has an impact on allergies, right?
Yes, basically any type of illness, any type of condition, if there's an emotional component, if there's a stress component, there's a good chance that we may be able to help.
That's great.
Yep.
Okay. So magic wand, right? You got the magic wand. You can make an impact. What is it you're going to do with that magic wand, Dr. Frank? Talk to me.
And you don't want the warm, fuzzy answer?
No, listen, we're not about warm fuzzies
Okay.
here. We're about keeping it real.
Good. Well, I know there's been a lot of politics talk this morning, so if I had the magic wand, creating way more of a balance of freedom and equality in healthcare, because the reality is that even though alternative healthcare has come a long way, where it's not covered, people's insurance doesn't cover a lot of it. The CDC, Center for Disease Control, just put out a report in January that said that massage therapy, acupuncture, and chiropractic continue to grow even in spite of people not having healthcare coverage. So they also said in the study upwards of 40% of people who visit chiropractors pay out of their own pocket. And there's so much talk about, lowering the healthcare bill, and the politicians stand up there and they yell and scream about it, but I don't see them really looking deeply at alternatives and much more natural, cost-effective ways to help. And when it comes to freedom, people don't know. People aren't told about what's available out there. We have more and more people who are told, okay, your kid has ADD, they have to go on this medication.
Right.
Okay, well, how about looking at the diet? How about looking at the integrity of their nervous system? Ever increasing, burgeoning list of vaccines that we have to take. Well, how about taking a look at what we can do to increase health? And workers' comp in and of itself in New Jersey. You have to be dying before they'll even send you to a chiropractor. Are we really looking to improve the health, or are we just looking to say we are and increase this and just continue the status quo? So, yeah, I would make some pretty big changes in just the way that the what's available to people and there definitely not the equality in healthcare these days.
Well,
it just isn't.
And I think it's unfortunate that we've, and this is not a new thing, but we're definitely in a society where rather than treat root causes of issues, we'd rather give a prescription.
And let me say, Jeremy, I have said to my patients from the time I've been practiced, in an emergency situation, there is no place you'd rather be than in the hands of a qualified medical practitioner. I've said that from the day I've practiced. And if you break your arm and your bone is sticking out, don't come to see me. I'm not the one you see. But when we're looking for correcting these chronic problems that just don't go away, you need to look for the deeper root cause, and that's what we do our best to do in my office every day.
It's funny. I you know how you're impacted. You remember things about your childhood, or you remember things about and you don't even realize you remember them, and then they kind of have an impact on you later in life. I remember my dad. Right, this had to be 30 years ago. Right, so we got to be talking 86, somewhere around there. My dad was diagnosed with hypertension. Right, they said you have high blood pressure and you need to take this pill. And my mom said to my dad, "You're not taking a pill." And he said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "You need to lose weight." She said, "You're going to start exercising, you're going to stop eating the way you do, and you're going to lose weight. And then, believe it or not, I believe you won't need a pill anymore." So that's what my dad did. He lost 30 pounds. He changed his eating habits. And, of course, blood pressure, perfect.
Yeah.
Right. And so even back then, the answer was, look, we know you're probably not going to lose the weight. We know you're probably not going to change your lifestyle. Here's a pill. Let's go put a Band-Aid on it.
Well, one of the things that I've always said, and it's on my website, is the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Right. So we can't just keep doing the same thing that got us here and expect to have this magic potion that's going to come along. You have to take responsibility for your health, and you have to make changes.
Absolutely.
And the patients that get the best, my practice isn't for everyone. We tell patients when they come in, we might not be the right office for you, and that's okay. We'll send you to someone who can help you. But for the patients who are really looking to make a change and saying what I'm doing is not working, I need to find something else, then we may have an answer for you.
Cool. Dr. Frank, talk to me. Where do I go to find more information about what you do?
Best place is right to our website, trinityhealthcenter.com. Right on the main page, there's a video, my video, where I'll talk to you right in the comfort of your own home for about 20 minutes. You can read all the testimonials that are there, and you'll know. We tell people, go to the website, watch the video. If it resonates with you, if it speaks to you, you'll know. If not, maybe we can find someone that can help you.
And that video was a family affair, right?
My son shot that and edited it for me. Yes, he did it all for me. So
and the music was done by
my cousin wrote the music in the beginning.
This.
Yes, absolutely.
Look at this. It's a grassroots effort here at Trinity Healthcare.
Absolutely.
Dr. Frank, thank you so much for joining us this morning and of course edifying us on the world of chiropractic medicine.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. When we come back, we will probably talk more politics and make everybody miserable about what's happening here, and then we'll have to go see Dr. Frank. Back right after this.